Hi, and Eric of Think Fresh Podcast, banging in your eardrums. What's going on, Eric?
Boom, boom, boom. We are so
Toto.
back. Man, what a beautiful day it is today, Ty. Uh,
Yeah,
just so nice
I'm
outside.
hitting the ski hill immediately after this episode
Oh,
wraps
dude.
because I love a sunny day ski. I'm a fair weather boarder.
So it's already the afternoon. So are you planning to catch like sunset up on the slopes, or are you trying to get as much in during the day as you can before you go home?
Nah, dude, I'm not one of those guys that needs to be like first lift up and last lift at the end of the day. I like to just roll up for an hour or two, take some pics from peak, take some pics chair side, dance in the POW. And then there's an effortless transition from snowboard to charcuterie board as I leave the mountain for my apres-ski.
Hmm. Beautiful. Tell me more about that. So you're eating charcuterie on the mountain?
No. That's always like post beer. You got like your big ass pint of ale and a few nibblies. This is a year of the appetizer, so I'm happy with just like a few little tastefully arranged cheeses or perhaps a dip.
Tastefully arranged cheeses. Are any of these cheeses actually the dip? Are you hitting the what's it called, the fondue? What are you fondueing today? is what I'm
Oh,
trying to ask.
yeah, dude, I'm gonna be fondling some dew. I think this is the weird thing with fondue is, and I know we've talked in length about fondue in the past, but you never like just dip the cheese in the melted cheese dip. Like you
Oh
can have
shit.
the cheese solid and you can have the cheese dip, but you don't dip the cheese in the cheese. And I don't see why not. That would be a fantastic combo.
hmm Kind of like a double cheese situation. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But feels healthier because you have a variety of different formats.
hmm
It's like having ice water essentially, It's both it's water.
That's so funny. You're just drinking water. Wow. Do you ever like? Is it impossible to like choke on an ice cube? It's like, bro, just wait 30 seconds. It'll melt.
Yeah, I guess you could choke on it, but it's a fleeting sensation.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It's kind of like drugging yourself. You know what I mean? It's like the high only lasts so long, you know? So
Mhm.
if you choke on an ice cube, don't even save the guy because, you know, it'll either get small enough to where it'll easily be swallowed or it'll just completely melt away and no need to do anything about it.
Mhm. And on the off chance that the ice cube does kill the man, it's probably for the best.
Yeah.
Maybe he shouldn't survive to reproduce. We don't need
it's,
those genes in the pool.
it's natural selection.
Mhm.
I had some fantastic blue today. And I gotta say, dude, you look confused. What's there to
Oh,
be
sorry.
confused
Blue
about?
as in the cheese, as in the cheese.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Sorry, I was using context clues. I was deep in some blue today, Ty, and I gotta say, I have. This is a sign of growing up is when you like know which blue cheese is your favorite.
Mm.
I found some really beautiful extra creamy blue cheese at my local grocery store, and I've been buying it on refill. You know what I mean? I never let myself see the bottom of the packaging.
Dude, that's amazing. I go through stints where I'm feeling blue and I'll like load up a block in the fridge for a month and then I'll move away from it and I'll return to some old
hmm
favorites like a Gruyere or a Parm, maybe something a bit softer like a Mozza or a Burrata, and then I'll find my way back to blue.
Matza, something a little softer. I like that.
Safta. Yee.
Just like Picasso, Ty, you are in your blue period, and
Mhm.
I gotta say, it's a great place to be. You know what I mean? Blue's better. Blue cheese matters. Okay.
That it does, King. Well, I'm really glad you're dabbling in that space. I've been putting it in salads. I think that's a fire move. It just like makes
Oh.
lettuce bearable. I would love to see blue cheese in a sandwich.
Absolutely. For that kind of application, you're going to need something a little bit more crumbly than what I've been working with. Mine is like as it's more spreadable than butter. It's like it's like a it's almost like melts in your plate. You know what I mean? It's just sitting there all goopy and ready to be scooped up onto a piece of bread or
Mm.
just straight into the gullet.
More cheese should be offered as a butter substitute because they both cheese and butter are kind of like water and ice. They're just I don't mean to reuse that metaphor, but it's the same thing.
Totally. And much like the grilled ice cubes in China, you can customize it any way you want,
Yeah,
blue
totally.
cheese, manchego with truffle, honey,
Mhm.
all these nice things.
Mm-mm-mm. Damn, I am hungry now. So, yeah, blue cheese is so good in a sandwich. Like, you get the blue cheese with the pear and the walnut. Putting nuts in a sandwich is kind of twisted. Like, that's kind of a freaky move, but I like it. I like a little crunch.
Dude, Subway has been kind of, I don't know, getting clever, you know what I mean, with their crunch applications because they introduced the crispy onions. And who's to say, like, in 5 years' time, there won't be like crushed walnuts?
Mhm. A little bit of toasted almond.
Totally. Almond slivers.
Yeah. I just think the challenge is they need mass market appeal, and the nut allergy has been the nuts' biggest,
Oh,
like, enemy? It's nut
mm-hmm.
versus nut allergy, and
Mm-hmm.
until the nut triumphs, which means people overcome the nut allergy as a society, we develop a cure, or perhaps all the nut allergens die off. Maybe they, much like our choking Iceman, don't survive to reproduce.
Totally.
And only until one of those three events unfold will we see the nuts gracing Subway's menu.
Hmm. Yeah, this is interesting. What is with the weak North American population being allergic to peanuts?
Yeah, dude, I think they
Like,
invented the peanut allergy.
yeah, 100%. Like, I don't get it. I've never heard of anyone being allergic to peanuts that wasn't from Canada or the US. Like, how does that even happen? Do you have to
I
feed your
don't
kid peanuts at a really young age?
or
Or
maybe
is
you
that like the
don't.
ultimate risk?
I don't know. There's gotta be some maybe Chat GPT, Chat BMT can tell us what to do here because I'm not really sure what
Mhm.
side you're supposed to do. Do you overfeed the nut? Do you overnut or undernut your child is the question.
I mean, it's almost crazy to believe that a kid could be allergic to nuts because they came from a nut.
Exactly. You are what you eat.
100%. It's like you were born as a nut, and now you're telling me you're too good for it? Come on, fuck out of here.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna make sure my child gets a healthy dose of every type of nut imaginable when they're young,
Facts.
so that they grow up resilient and strong.
That's right, dude. My kid's going to be drinking liters of milk,
Mhm.
cheese, all kinds of peanuts, gluten. They're going to be like having the same diet as the Liver King when they're first born, just to make sure that they're able to handle all the food that life could throw at them.
Well, and you know what? If they can't handle it, then I'm asking Maury for the DNA test.
Yeah, totally. If it's not chugging homo milk, it ain't mine. Okay, Ty, enough BS. Let's get into some Subway news. Just found this kind of concerning article. This is yet another example of big Subway just stepping on the franchise owners, which is kind of funny. But
Mhm.
this article, Ty, the title says Subway CEO tells franchisees to remodel or get out.
That's a tough decision.
Yeah,
What an ultimatum.
Subway really is giving their restaurants an ultimatum. And I'm not sure why, because getting out in 2024 seems like a good option, you know?
Mhm, no kidding. So, they're
Like,
basically this is a threat. It's like, "Go have a better life, leave Subway, walk away, or update your old ass brick walls and tomato paintings to our new sci-fi edition."
mhm.
Those are your
Yeah, dude.
options.
It's really sad actually, because we're looking at this photo right now of a Subway from maybe like 2004, where
Mhm.
they have the brick wallpaper. Maybe the prices can give us a hint here. So, yeah, it looks like it's $11 for a foot long. That's obviously a fucking lifetime ago.
Mhm.
Beautiful bell pepper PNGs along the
Mhm.
bottom of the line. And yeah, a please
Dude,
order here sign. That's another big tell.
yeah, with using like a fairly like low res graphic design, like just center align
Hmm.
text, beautiful, simple. I'm okay.
Simple.
Here's the thing: Subway wants to upgrade to the new iteration of the like their store aesthetic, which I completely understand. They probably invested a lot in this new concept, which is all like like shiny and feels like you're like in the mouth of a robot. And now they want their stores to like represent this new image that they're proposing. But did they ever ask the customers about this? They didn't ask me.
Yeah, I was never emailed to get my thoughts. I have some thoughts, unfortunately, with Subway. But yeah, I don't really understand. Like they've they're forcing everyone to adopt this new visual language, seemingly to keep his own job. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like the CEO. Because no one wants to admit that it's a bad redesign and that nobody cares for the sterile look of the, like, I don't know, shiny white floors with a neon green and yellow logo.
Hmm.
People just want to feel comfortable inside of this brick prison, you know?
Dude, I love the brick prison. I'm nostalgic for it. It's so
Yeah.
cozy. It feels like the fast food equivalent of a pub. It's like kind of
Hmm.
dimly lit, a little bit rustic. It feels like the tomatoes were picked outside the villa just a few meters away.
Yeah. Yeah. All the ingredients were sourced within 100 meter radius.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, I don't know, man. Subway, like the nostalgia for Subway might be one of the greatest things it has going for it. Like, I don't think people are unironically being like, "Hey, I want to go to Subway." Like the irony has a lot of value, in my opinion,
I
and
agree.
the new branding is trying to eliminate that irony and take itself too seriously. Whereas the old branding and the old art, interior design is like, "Hey, remember this amazing place from your childhood? Come on back. It's even better than it was."
Your sandwich is still here.
Your sandwich is here and it's warm. Okay,
It's
just the
beautiful.
way you like it.
Man, dude, yeah, I'm not I'm sure if I'm here for this new age brand. It makes me feel like the lettuce came from like a vertical farm, you know? Like and it's just it feels so like the space itself feels genetically modified. So what does that say about the food?
100%. What's interesting though about this article is like the Subway CEO is forcing the franchise to change, and it sounds like there's no real like leeway there. I wonder what like the minimum requirement is to stay on brand. You know,
Mhm.
it's like, do I need to remodel completely, or can I just simply update the logo on the storefront?
Mhm. Yeah, it starts with the logo and ends with the bathroom tiling.
Hmm.
But I feel like if I was a franchisee and I wanted to continue to play this game with corporate, I would do the bare minimum to check the box. Then you get this kind of like cool new world, old world look and might be unique to your own store.
Hmm.
There's an
Yeah,
interesting
totally.
quote here from one of the chairmans. If you just scroll up a little bit, Eric's showing me a screen. He predicts that you can't continue in this restaurant world and have stores look like they're 20 years old. People will stop coming. So this dude genuinely thinks that if people are going to stop coming, if the store's 20 years old and they're still coming, they're still going to come for another 20 years. Like I think this guy's
Hmm.
like he needs to get it. He's out to lunch right now. He's literally at lunch.
Guys at lunch at Subway. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm curious what the data says about this. Like, do okay, well, I don't know if we can actually measure this properly because I'm gonna guess that restaurants that are still using the old branding are probably in like areas where there's not a lot of development happening. Like every business maybe looks old, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so it's just like, you have a different demographic, right? Compared to restaurants like, I don't know, let's say on Fifth Ave, you know what I mean? The subway on Fifth
Mhm.
Ave looks amazing. That's
Mhm.
because the
Totally.
Apple store next to it is like all glass. You know what I mean? It has to be
But yeah,
updated
your
to fit
flagship
in.
has to compete.
Exactly. So Yeah, I don't know if we can really measure it, but I'm curious, like if people have stopped going slowly, and if places remodel, do they see a spike in visits because they're like, oh, what is this shiny new thing? Maybe it's, I don't know, different in some way.
You're right. We need to run the metrics to really know if they will stop coming or not. But I don't care, Eric, if it's new or old. Like my hunger doesn't care about the aesthetics. Hunger is blind to looks, you know?
Hunger is blind. Yeah, the hungrier you are, the more desperate you are, the more you will tolerate. You know what I mean? Like if you haven't eaten for weeks, that juicy rat, it looks pretty tasty, you know?
Totally, dude. You got blue cheese balls and you need to go get your fix.
Exactly. Damn. There's some good comments here, Ty. I'm really interested in what these fine folks on thetakeout.com have to say.
Yeah, hit me.
Someone says, I don't care what the restaurant looks like if the food is shit.
It's not a bad case actually.
Hmm.
More
Yeah, I
evidence
mean,
though that hunger is blind, you know?
mhm.
When you and I are talking in the pods, we can make all sorts of assumptions, but once we walk in there and we taste the food, that really determines whether or not this is a match.
Me and you really are in the hunger is blind pods right now.
Yeah, we really are.
Crazy. Someone says, I would put back up the old brown NYC subway maps.
That'd be kind of cool though. I wish they kept those. They added this like sense of place, literally.
Yeah, it's like
Like,
you
oh,
are
there's a
here type
place.
beat.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, what's interesting is like, I don't know. Okay, we need to be like in the show Mad Men or something to fully understand why rebrands work. Like, there has to be some reason why a rebrand is like suggested that isn't just like an agency, like, you know, creating a pitch deck being like, you'll capture this many more customers if you make your logo like sans serif, you know? What's up with
Mhm.
that? Why
Well,
is why do people change stuff?
Dude, I think it's entirely like I don't know if there's actually any metrics ever to back up any change associated with brand ever, but
Mhm.
hear me out. The people who are responsible for making brands, they need to make money. And they also happen to have a skill set. They're probably also the people that are the best at other convincing other people to do things because of that skill set. Because they
Mhm.
have an understanding of brand, they can convince other people that their brand is that they are going to do something better.
Mhm. It's really strange though, because like I can't think of a single rebrand that was a noticeable improvement from previous. You know what I mean? Like we have so many examples of branding just gone wrong. Like
Mhm.
remember the new Gap logo that lasted for like 2 weeks before like the
Mhm.
internet imploded and then they like just reverted back. This was
Yeah,
before Yeezy.
damn. The revert back is always a dicey move, but then there's a few successful ones. Like honestly, the new Subway logo is a breath of fresh air. I love the double arrows with the S. It looks really tight. I feel like I want to get that monogram like on merch. The new Burger King logo and their whole brand system that Pentagram out of New York did, that was really fresh. And I feel like the color palette is a lot more reserved than you'd expect from fast food, therefore like mature and kind of stands out with its like kind of muted tones. But it didn't need to happen.
Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying. The Burger King one, I'm impressed that you pulled this out of thin air, but you're right. It is nice. I'll give it that. It's a lateral move though.
It is a
Like,
lateral move. Dude, I think about this logo way too much. And all of their brand motifs are very similar to Subway. They got people playing with their food, is all these little graphics.
oh yeah. I like this color palette too. Green, red, brown.
Hmm.
It's truly the rainbow, the rainbow diet.
It's funny. They're like the only fast food chain that's actually down to embrace brown. Like they're down for brown. All the other fast food chains, they try to like do yellow with a touch of like
Green.
freshness, like a green or even a blue, maybe
Hmm.
a red. But Burger King's like, nah, brown town, baby. Like
Well, dude,
we're
yeah.
beef heavy.
They're going brown town with sexy brown. But I think this is a total miss from all other branding agencies because think about like what is the best, most tastiest food look like? It's brown. Like
Yeah.
all brown food is awesome.
Mhm.
And why don't more food places like try to incorporate this? Everyone uses green. We know green equals fresh greens. You know what I mean? It's way too
Mhm.
literal. Let's go back to using beige,
Mhm.
brown, and light brown for like all the best foods in the world, like fried chicken, macaroni, fries, chips,
Hell
beef.
yeah, dude.
You
The
mean
list goes
I could
on
go
and on.
on? Yeah, exactly.
So, I guess what's
Cheese.
happening, it's like 50 shades of brown over here. People don't seem to think that the tangible aspects of branding matter anymore. Everyone has to be intangible. Everyone has to be aspirational. I think that's bullshit. Just tell me what I'm going to eat. Like, I don't think the Zoomers care anymore about aspirations. They've given up already. They just want the real deal.
Hmm. I 100% agree with you. So, where do we go from here? Can we expect another rebrand from Subway? Do we know if it's even successful?
I mean, as a like CEO, you only have a few tools in your tool belt to show shareholder value, and one of them is rebranding. So I expect there will be another one.
Yeah, it is a kind of like a trump card, if you will. It's like,
Mhm.
here's how I can quickly prove my value.
A facelift. It's literally lipstick on a business.
Hmm. Oh,
But,
dude, we have to get rid of this stupid dancing bell pepper, whatever the fuck this is. We got to get Anna
yeah.
back on the horn.
Yeah, shout out to podcast alumni Anna Kelville Joyce who did all this photography. I genuinely think it's dope. I just feel like they've been using the same like 6 images since the branding came out in like 2015. It's been 10 years and they haven't done a second photo shoot.
Hmm. To be fair, I don't think any of the images are even being used. I think it's more like the color palette is just everywhere and the monogram is everywhere. But I don't know how much like the actual branding team was responsible for the interior design. I think that's where there's probably the most opportunity. Like,
Mhm.
let's yeah, let's apply some of these new colors and this new feel, but should we also reference a bit of the old? Like, what if we put real brick in the restaurants? Like, that would be such an upgrade from the brick wallpaper.
Like I feel like brick prices going down. There's not as much demand and we found ways to make them thinner. So you could 100% just make it a more better version of itself. And then if I saw a Subway go from fake brick to real brick, you know what I might think about their bread, Eric? I might think that's some real bread they got there now, you know? Maybe the tuna is real.
Yeah, maybe it is. Check out this photo Ty I just pulled up of the actual. This is like the most updated brand guideline for the Subway interior, and it's no different than a college campus cafeteria.
That's kind of what it feels like. It's somewhere between a college campus cafeteria and like a life-size vending machine in Japan.
Hmm. The other one to me is like a hospital. It's like a
Yeah.
hospital cafeteria. It looks like this too.
Yeah, totally. It's very sterile. It's very there's not like you're never gonna find a black olive on the floor of a new Subway. You know, they
Hmm.
probably have a
Hmm.
Roomba going around zapping all of those.
Hmm. Okay, I want to make one more point about this, Ty. Think about delis as like a genre of business.
Hmm.
Okay, delis. The longer a deli exists for, the more brand power it has. Think about like Katz Deli in New York. It's been around for 100 years, and it's
Hmm.
awesome because it hasn't changed one bit. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
for sure, for sure.
You go in, there's got the old neon sign outside. You got a lineup of people around the corner.
Hmm.
You got people cutting meat with no gloves.
Hmm.
It's like things don't change at this place, and it's just awesome. You go and find a seat once you get your sandwich. It's good stuff, man. I don't know. I
Hmm.
think delis they benefit from being old and showing experience rather than like being the first to do something. And like this brand, the rebrand feels like Subway's trying to be the first to do this. You know what I mean? It's like picture this new sandwich restaurant. It's just
Yeah,
erasing the past.
yeah. They're like, guess what we just came up with? Nah, man. Like, keep the even though it was fake brick and a poorly made New York subway map. It like hearkened that there was this past before it where great sandwiches came from that they wanted, they were inspired by, you know, like
Hmm.
the beauty of Katz is like the interior is so dense with lore, you know, it's so Seinfeld coded, you know, it's got history.
100%. Like George definitely got into an argument here and then got fired from his job or something. That's the vibe I get.
Hmm.
Think about how many people got fired from their job in this photo alone.
Oh, they're all canceled now.
There's like way too many male ponytails, but I think the uh, the theory holds true.
Hmm. I got to ask a question that's a little bit of a diversion. It may go nowhere. Can you go back to the rebrand Subway tab you have open? I noticed there's a pill at the top that's suggesting you do a Google search for Turner Duckworth. I don't know what that is, and I need to know.
Oh, isn't this
I
the
still don't know
agency?
what it is. Is that the agency that
This,
did it? Oh, yes, you're right.
yeah. We looked at this like 300 episodes ago, I think.
Mm.
But now I'm curious. I need to remind myself, what else did this cursed agency do?
Oh, Subway's
Okay.
still their homepage?
It's still no, this is the actual work page.
Ah, shit. No, it's still the
Oh,
homepage.
sorry, this website. They need to hire a different agency to do the website, apparently.
Burn. It's kind of hard to tell what a business even worked on, you know? Like they literally put a picture of a can of Campbell's cream of mushroom soup on their homepage. Like, what did they do? Did they make the soup? Did they iterate on the recipe?
Apparently they did.
Oh,
Oh no.
oh no, they refined the word Campbell's. They took away the drop shadow from the logo.
Hmm.
Wow, brilliant work.
Brilliant work. And this cost $100,000, you think, or more?
Easily 100K.
Yeah. Dude, once again, Ty, we've reached the same conclusion as previous episodes. We don't need graphic design in our modern
Mhm.
society. Let's just get rid of all agencies. People
Yeah.
should hire their son to design a logo for their company. You know what I mean? I think that's probably the
Mhm.
best way. And that's it. Let's just leave it at that.
It's way more personal. And it's really interesting that the thesis at a macro level of this podcast, if you take away anything, is that we just need to get rid of the graphic designers.
100%.
They gotta go.
Hmm.
If you agree with us, if you don't think Subway needs to change their interior design, if you long for the old Subway, the straight on its goals Subway, you can send Big HQ a letter. You can declare your love for the footlongs or rip them a new one at 325, get this, Subway in Milford, Connecticut. That's right. That is their publicly listed address, and they are welcome to receiving fan mail. 325 Subway. Clever name for a road.
That's amazing. That's like on some Silicon Valley shit. You know what I mean? It's like business is so huge, we built a whole neighborhood around it.
Mm-hmm. Like you go to a modern tech campus, there's like the modern like sandwich campus, and there's like a tomato testing laboratory and like their vertical garden, you know.
100%. There's a lab where they can reference what tuna is supposed to look and feel like, and then just replicate that.
Oh yeah, the tuna simulation room. It's a bit of a walk. Everything's a few feet away.
Hmm. You do have to buffer meetings with about 5 minutes of travel time.
Hmm. When speaking of travel time, when I was looking up this address and learning about how you can actually send Subway fan mail, which I gotta ask you, like after I finish the sentence, what you would send Subway with this information? What should we send them?
Mhm.
But did you know that Milford, Connecticut is only an hour and a half drive from New York City? Like it's actually pretty close. And I didn't really
Oh.
realize that. I thought it was like middle of nowhere, Connecticut, but
Hmm.
this is like fringe suburb of New York City. So I understand now the wallpaper.
Interesting. Do you think you can take the subway there?
I think there is a train line that goes out there, yeah.
Oh wow.
Ironically.
Yeah, that is nice. But what I would send Subway in the mail, probably like a bunch of fish heads or something.
Mm,
You know what I mean? It's kind
thinly
of like
veiled
my
threat.
yeah, it's my protest for the tuna. I'm hoping like the Subway CEO, much like the scene in Scarface when he like wakes up with a dead horse in his
Hmm.
bed. one day he'll just open up some fan mail and it's just like a bunch of rotting fish heads. And I'll
There's
have
this
we'll have the same reaction, and then I don't know, scare him into going back to real food.
Wow, that is a really radicalized like piece of fan mail. I'd imagine that it comes with a note that says like "keep the brick."
Or just mail him bricks every week for like however long it takes. That would be
Mm-hmm.
kind of fun too. I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
you'll probably rack up the Canada Post charges. This could easily escalate into a Unabomber situation, which I don't want to do. But
Yeah, just to be
we'll
clear,
see.
we're not using the U.S. Postal Service for any form of terrorism. We're just trying to literally send a message.
Exactly. This whole episode is satire.
Yeah.
I'm exercising my jester's privilege right now, Ty.
Me too. I'm a clown. Nothing I've said this episode is real except the address 325 Subway.
It's amazing. Yeah, what are you sending, Ty?
Well, I haven't thought too much about this, but I would love to send them whatever I don't finish eating. Return it. And maybe they can reuse it. A slice of tomato, a little glupa sauce, put it in an envelope, send it back.
Hmm.
Maybe, even for testing purposes, they can learn how their ranch oxidizes.
Hmm. Yeah, you could send them like a made footlong every week and then just be like, does this look edible to you?
If you don't like your sandwich, just send it back. Like straight back to AQ. Send it with the receipt so they can refund your credit card.
Send it to the source.
Mm-hmm.
Subway really does need to have like if you don't like it, it's free policy. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? I was actually at a gelato place not long ago where they had some kind of like specific brand of coffee, and then that brand had a sign on the window that said, if you don't like your coffee, it's on us. And I was like, wow, that's a really
Wow.
bold and confident claim. And I wonder how many
Mm-hmm.
like unhoused take advantage of that. You know what I mean?
Like, can I have
It's like,
another glass of your shitty coffee?
yeah, sorry, your coffee sucked. I want my money back. Shoots up in the bathroom. Um, but I'm curious, like if Subway did that, would that force employees to do a better job? Would they lose money? What would the economic effect of that be?
I think you need a way to. Well, like first of all, it's like my brother in Christ. You made the sandwich. This is like an exception where it's hard to justify that it's objectively bad because it
Mm,
was the decisions made by the creator, the act of God. And so I think there's like a little bit of like a legal loophole here for Subway where they can never accept returns. But if they were to do it, you kind of need a third party to step in and say, this is a bad sandwich because of an ingredient. Like the fault and the burden is now on Subway to refund it, not a bad combination of ingredients. There's a distinction there.
right. So we need like PayPal to step in and be like, okay, we need to exact our buyer's protection here.
Mm-hmm.
One might assume, or one should be able to safely assume that the combination of ingredients will ladder up to a tasty sandwich. You know what I mean? And if Subway is not delivering on that promise, then we can do something about it.
For sure. I mean, like it's pretty obvious when like your sandwich has like a hint of salmonella because that's something that anybody with a laboratory can test for. But whether if the like olive was like just on the verge of going bad, that's a little harder to identify. So I think you kind of need to like a breathalyzer, do it in the moment. You need on-site critics that are unbiased. They're not paid by Subway, they're paid by US taxpayer money
Hmm.
that to either defend or refute the claim that it's a bad sandwich at the hand of Subway. I think that's the only way we can have this work.
100% agree. And I'm curious what that process will look like. So the customer will submit a claim live, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's a special bell that they can ring where the auditor comes out of the closet or the mediator, I should say, and says, okay, let's hear the opening statement from the customer. And
Mm-hmm.
then once that's done, an opening statement by the defendant, in this case, Subway LLC. And
Mm-hmm.
there's a questioning period. Both sides ask one question and one answer. and then closing arguments, and then anyone else in the restaurant can act as the jury.
Mm-hmm. Dude, you're missing one very important step, which is you got to let your auditor take a bite.
Oh shit!
They gotta let him know, like the fact you don't need a juror. This is trial by judge at this point, and they should know whether that spinach is gone or not in one bite.
Hmm. I think that's hilarious, and especially if the defendant or the customer loses in this case, it's like, okay, the sandwich is fine. You have to eat it. Now you have to eat a sandwich that someone random took a bite out of.
Yeah. So there's a bit of a risk there, but it encourages people not to abuse the system that we've created.
Totally, that's the legal fee.
Yeah.
Damn. Well, yeah. What do we call this, Ty? Like, it's kind of like litigation, but I don't know. Is it bitigation?
How about a Subway meat eater? No, instead of
Wow.
mediator, meat eater. Meat eater.
Hmm.
Meat
Yeah, absolutely.
eater. Dude, that's so hard to say.
Wow. Yeah, it is. Okay, we can workshop the exact name for this third party.
Mm-hmm.
Third party sub. I don't know.
Third party sub. That's funny too.
All right. Well, thinkfreshpodcast.com.
It's been a wonderful episode, Eric.
It's been a pleasure speaking with you, Ty. As always, breadheads, thank you for listening. Ty, have fun on the slopes today. Don't eat too much cheese. It'll impede your performance. So keep that in mind.
Sage advice. I appreciate that. I've never done a sport, so any other tips you got for me, send them my way.
Mm. I would say eat an hour before, and then after, make sure you have that recovery beer.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hell
All right,
yeah.
breadheads. Thank you for listening. Catch us on Friday. Think fresh, everybody.
Ciao.
Ciao.